Hey there, friends. Today I'd like to read you a few books, and both of the books we're going to read talk about hibernation. Hibernation is what certain animals do when the weather turns cool. It's a way for them to survive the really cool weather and to save energy for the spring because our bodies take a lot of energy to maintain our body temperature. So some animals, like bears, are a very familiar one, take long naps in the winter for weeks or even months where they sleep or stay in a mostly sleep state. So that's going to be in both of our books today. The first book is called A Story for Small Bear. It's by Alice McGinty and Richard Jones. A Story for Small Bear. When a late autumn wind swirled into their den after noontime nap, Small Bear shivered. Brr, I smell frost in the air, Mama said. Tonight we will start our winter slumber. Small Bear snuggled close. Will you tell me stories before we sleep? She asked. I'd love that, Mama said. But there's work to finish first. If you help, no dilly, no dally, then we'll have time for stories. Small Bear got right to work. With the sun shining high, she helped Mama gather sprigs of spruce to make a soft, warm nest. As Small Bear raked the forest floor, she came upon her favorite spot, the cozy hole in the spruce tree. She rubbed her nose in the sweet-smelling wood. She scratched her back. She could dilly and dally here forever. But then a gust of frigid air ruffled her fur, and Small Bear shuddered. She did not like the cold, not at all. Small Bear thought of Mama nearby. No dilly, she told herself, no dally. Wind was biting, winter knocking, and she had to save time for stories. Goodbye, hole, said Small Bear, and she carried the sprigs back to line her winter bed. As the sun drifted slowly across the sky, Small Bear and Mama lumbered to the river to bathe. Small Bear tumbled into the clear, cool water and shimmied until all the dirt had been washed from her fur. She splished and splashed. No dilly, she knew that's what Mama would say. Still, she rolled and wriggled and played some more. No dally, Small Bear thought, but it was so hard to leave. What could she do? Wind was biting, winter knocking, and she had to save time for stories. Finally, firmly, Small Bear waded to shore. Goodbye, river, she said, and shook herself dry. Mama, Small Bear called. Where are you, Mama? At last, Small Bear saw her and ran to meet her by the berry grove. Late day sunshine warmed them as they munched on berries, juicy and red. Then Small Bear saw acorns high above. There are the acorns. Up, up, up she climbed, one branch to another, and ate acorn after acorn. She looked out from the branches. She could climb forever. There's Mama at the bottom and Small Bear at the top. But now the sun began to curve into sunset. No dilly, Small Bear reminded herself. Still, she reached for a particularly plump acorn. No dally, Small Bear said, but how could she leave? The forest was full of food and adventure. Suddenly, though, Small Bear shivered. Brr. Sun was setting, wind was biting, winter knocking, and she had to save time for stories. Small Bear knew what to do. Goodbye, trees, she said, and down she scrambled. Mama, she called. She scampered between bushes, scurried over rocks. Mama, Mama. Finally, Small Bear saw her lumbering nearby the mulberry trees. Here I am, Mama, she said. And together they started down the path towards home. Back in their den, warm and clean and fed, Small Bear and her mama nestled down into their spruce bough nest. Did I save enough time for stories? Small Bear asked. You did, Mama answered and pulled her close. In a deep, rumbling voice, Mama began. Once there lived a small bear who loved to play. Her mama watched as she scratched in her cozy hole. No dilly, splashed in her cool, clear stream. No dally, and adventured in the tall, tall trees. Would she save time for stories? Small Bear listened, content, because she knew how the story would end. And as the first snowflakes of winter floated down outside, she drifted off to sleep. Okay, the second one is called The Friendship Surprise, and it's about when one animal wakes up from hibernation. This one's by Giorgio Vlope and Paolo Porietti. For Little Red Fox, the most beautiful time of year was the arrival of spring. The time was nearing when his friend Hazel, the dormouse, would wake from hibernation. Little Red was so bursting with excitement, he couldn't help but break into a run. He only slowed down to have a think. Every year, Little Red would celebrate Hazel's awakening by preparing a surprise. But this year was different. During the winter, Little Red had made friends with Brock, the badger, and the two had become inseparable. What if Hazel's surprise this year is meeting a new friend, thought Little Red. Three friends playing together could be fun, but Little Red wasn't sure about introducing Brock to Hazel. What if Hazel prefers him to me? Just thinking about it made Little Red feel sad. So instead, he moved Hazel's teapot home to the lakeside in a field of daisies, feeling that would be a much better surprise. There's her teapot home, where she's hibernating. The day came, and Little Red welcomed Hazel with swirling leaps, long hugs, and quiet moments together. And that evening, he took Hazel to admire the dancing fireflies. I missed you so much, Hazel. Little Red, the important thing is we are together now. The two friends resumed spending most of their days together, but in Hazel's eyes, Little Red was behaving strangely. Little Red used to never be the first to leave, but now he always was. One of their favorite games was picking strawberries. It didn't matter who collected the most. The important thing was to have fun. But that day, Little Red was distracted. He wished he could talk to Hazel about Brock, but he just could not find the courage. Hazel watched Little Red wander off in thought and decided to follow. When Hazel discovered Little Red was meeting with Brock, everything became clear. The next morning, Hazel asked Little Red if there was something wrong, but Little Red avoided the conversation. What would you say if next year I hibernated with you? And your new friend, who will stay with him? Asked Hazel. Little Red was speechless. Why haven't you introduced me to him yet? Continued Hazel. Little Red curled up and responded nervously. I was afraid you would not want to stay with me anymore and I would lose you. Hazel hugged him. That would never happen, Little Red. I'm sure we can all three have fun together. At those words, Brock burst out of the bushes with a beaming smile. What are you doing here? Exclaimed Little Red in surprise. You were acting so strangely that I decided to follow you, replied Brock. Hazel burst out laughing. The surprise was Little Red's, and a moment later, Brock and Little Red joined in with Hazel's infectious laughter. One, two, three, and they all started playing together, just as friends do. And there's Hazel's teapot house. So this is the time of year that animals start preparing to hibernate and actually go into hibernation as the weather's getting cooler, and in some places it's starting to snow, and they are getting their bodies prepared to make their long rest through the winter. So I hope this winter you will find ways to stay warm and you will start preparing for the weather that will come, whether it's snowing or not where you live. Have a great day, friends.